I'm here with Tom McKay. If you don't know who Tom McKay is, you should know by now who he is. He's an upcoming musician, also a YouTuber. He does YouTube videos as well, Metal Robot Reviews, rocking a whole 351 subs. It's awesome. I've been going through his channel lately, and I was just like, I need to have him on. Just like the amount of like metal content I've seen the past bit is like the most I've seen in a while. So I just want to like sit down with Tom here and just like really talk about metal, because I'm kind of like I'll be the word newbie into metal. Like I know like a good chunk. We'll get into it, but like I know a good chunk. But seeing all his interviews, reviews, and just news in general, just like is awesome. So I just need to have him on. But yeah, Tom, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Is it 351 now? Oh, I think it went down. I think last I saw, I think it was 352. So to that one person who left, sucks to be you.
We have your IP address right here. It's on the screen, and you'll be hearing from our lawyers.
We'll display it on the screen. Credit card information, SIN number.
Fred
everything.
Jones, look out. But yeah. Awesome. So like I mentioned, you do music on the side. You released a song recently here, Hung by the Wings of Fate. I just want to I just wanted to just like ask, like, in general, just what got you into music, and like kind of also afterwards you could maybe talk about like your writing process.
What got me into like into writing music in general, or
like I guess like you're writing music, or just in general, like growing up.
Well, in terms of like my influences, I got into metal around like 8th grade, I think, is when I started getting, at least took a lean towards the heavier side of rock. Started off with a band called 3 Days Grace, the song Home. Yeah, you know who they are.
Yep.
Song called Home. That was the first real taste I got of the heavy rock style around 2012. And I know it's 2012 because that's when Black Ops 2 came out, is when I got into Avenged Sevenfold, because the song Carry On. Yeah. And from there, it just kind of, timelines for that point are kind of fuzzy, but after that, I started getting into a bit more of the heavy metal stuff. I knew about Metallica beforehand. I wasn't really that much into them, but I knew who they were. Got into bands like Trivium, Devil Wears Prada, Motionless in White, and a lot of them that kind of boiled on from there, brought on bands like Opeth, Epica, and so many others. It spiraled out of control pretty quickly. But it wasn't like way like so deep into metal. Like it wasn't in the bushes and the swamp waters of metal until about the time I started up Metal Robot Reviews. That's when I got way into. I started listening to a whole lot more, and I learned way more than any sane person should about the metal genre and all of its various subgenres: sludge metal, doom metal, black metal, unblacked metal, the whole shebang.
Yep.
In terms of writing music, though, that I started in about like the 12th grade. So I was 17 years old. By this point, I had just picked up the guitar. I was just picking it up because my older brother was more into it. I just picked up the guitar. I joined a band fairly quickly. Yeah. Don't join a band that quickly, guys. But I joined the band. It went bad so fast. Oh, yeah. We never even wrote any songs. We just kind of like,
usually goes like that.
Yeah, like we were just a band that had no music whatsoever, but people who could sort of kind of maybe play the instruments. But at that point I got inspired to start writing music of my own, like learning how to do it. And it kind of just went on from there. Over the years, I learned a lot more about music theory. I learned a lot more of how to craft songs. And from there, it just kind of went on from there. I released, of course, the first Hung by the Wings of Fate was not my first one. I did a couple songs like Woman in Red, which I don't talk about. Bloodlust, I don't talk about that either. Rain of Fire is the first official one to get released on streaming platforms. Well, no, Bloodlust was, but Rain of Fire is the first one I'm proud of. And then Hung by the Wings of Fate was the most recent one. But yeah, just kind of, that's the rough timeline. Hope you're able to keep up.
Yeah, that's awesome, because like I guess I never brought it up in my show, like how I kind of got into music. Because obviously I grew up with like a musical family. My dad played piano, my brother played drums, my brother's was a DJ, so I was always surrounded by music, really in general. And I kind of got into like metalcore and all that because of my brother. Because shout out to you, Ethan. But he like listened to a lot of like those bands like Devil Wears Prada, A Day to Remember. Like that's how I found out about Breaking Benjamin, 3 Days Grace, like all those,
Ooh.
Alexis on Fire, like all those kind of bands I heard because of my brother. Because at the time I was just like a kid. I didn't really at any point no one really had like a direction to kind of just listen to whatever was on the radio or like your
Right.
older siblings. So as I grew up in high school, that's when that huge boom of like that kind of like emo metalcore, like the Sleeping with Sirens, the Pierce the Veils, the of Mice and Men, of like that kind of thing. So I was for a little bit. I'll pull up a picture. It's really embarrassing of me in 10th grade wearing a Sleeping with Siren shirt with a bowl cut. I look back to that.
I gotta see this. I gotta see this now.
I'm glad I'm not that person now. But like, there's always it's funny enough. I have a little playlist on my Spotify called High School Memories LOL. It's just like all of my pop punk, emo, like all stuff I listened to back in the day. Once in a while, if I want to like a nostalgia trip, I just go listen to that. But yeah, as I went on, I started getting more into like more pop punk. I don't know if you're like kind of similar with like pop punk at all.
The most I got into in terms of pop punk is just really Green Day.
Yeah,
Because Green Day, this is the thing that kind of throws people off. Is like I'm the black sheep of my family when it comes to my music tastes.
Yeah.
And no one knows where my love for metal came from because my older brother loved like pop punk back when we were growing up. American Idiot was the album that we all enjoyed.
Yep.
My sister, I don't know what she's into, more like hip hop and grunge kind of thing.
Yep.
And my little brother, mostly like rock pop, and no one knows where the heavy metal stuff came from. No one has a clue. But yeah, Green Day is the furthest I've gone with pop punk in terms of like how much I'll listen to it.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was listening to like probably like a couple of you like listeners, watchers would know like bands like Stories So Far, Wonder Years, Modern Baseball, like all those kind of bands I listened to in high school. So, and also there's that point where I was like I only like pop punk. That's like pop punk everything, like that kind of cringe phase that a kind of a bunch of people I know, they look back like, why were we like that? but yeah, as like also like because my brother, he was really into see with you with metal is me with I was more familiar with like the hardcore punk scene because my brother went to a lot of shows in Hamilton, Toronto, like sometimes in the States. So I know like a bunch of bands like specifically we'll talk more about because I've found out that you listen to them. Code Orange is like
yes,
it's like one is like my number one. Last year I didn't release it because I didn't feel as good, but I made like a top 12 favorite albums. Underneath was like number 3 for me. We'll go into it more, but like I remember listening back when they're Code Orange kids in 2013 when like that entire thing went on and they were more specifically like hardcore, like all that. So it's interesting for me personally. That's like my thing with bands in general, just and singers, just like watching them like grow to like this kind of, you see them at this local bar to them like, hey, they're opening for Slipknot now, and like they're doing music for the WWE. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, you would never like see that. You never think that would ever happen. It's like that kind of thing is crazy. But like, yeah, Code Orange. Like I'm drawing a blank on a couple other bands right now, but I'll probably think about it later. But like that, yeah. Then college came around, and then when you probably really too, because he did radio broadcasting as well as me. So a lot of people, like different hodgepodge of people, like we have country people, we have metal people, we have rap people, like people listen to different genres. So I've like one of my guys in my program, Quentin, he was in my show before, he just introduced me to rap. He's like, hey, you know Kendrick Lamar? I'm like, no, not really. So that's when his album Damn came out. It's like, okay. And then from there, just like kept growing and growing with my music stuff. But yeah, that's kind of like my thing. It's just I'm all over the place when it comes to music. So like right now I'm all about like electronic and rap right now. That's like my thing. But I've been like slowly getting more into like learning more about like what kind of like the hot new like metal bands are on right now. So I like go to your channel, and I go like other people like recommend stuff for me. But yeah, that's like really in general. But yeah. So talking more about your YouTube channel, what got you into doing that?
Oh, I've been on YouTube for a long time, before even Metal Robot Reviews. Before this, the furthest back I can remember is this channel I did was like a sort of like one of those early, like you ever been on YouTube like back in the early days when there was like a lot of YouTube channels getting up and they're like those sort of like skit vlog channels kind of thing. That's what I was doing. I was 13 years old doing that, and it was me and my sister that we were making these like really dumb skits. Looking back, I have vague memories of them. I think I blacked out most of it, thank God. But but it was like one of those kind of things. But that got me experience with video editing and getting on and uploading to YouTube. not long after that, I started up a gaming channel, which is still up, but I haven't uploaded anything to it. After a while, like just it started off great, but after a while, the novelty wore off
Yeah.
for me. But it also didn't help that I went into it with the wrong mindset, and that's
Mhm.
the thing that trips a lot of people up. If you go into YouTube, especially gaming YouTube, with the mindset of I'm going to be the next PewDiePie, the
Yeah.
next Markiplier, you will have a bad fucking time.
Yep. Exactly.
Wait, can I swear on this channel?
Yeah.
Am I allowed?
Yeah, you're allowed.
Oh, like.
Cut out. Producer, turn it off.
Censor button. But like it was around that time. Like I was very much like I was in the wrong mindset of like you're gonna have a bad time if you go into that with that mindset because you're gonna go nowhere. Especially in gaming, the only way I can see people getting somewhere is if you have that specific niche that sets you aside from very differently from everybody else. Like there's one channel that I really enjoy watching nowadays. He's a gaming channel, but he's also a guitar player. His name's The Do.
Okay.
Yeah, he is, and some of his earlier videos before he blew up, he was incorporating like he'd go on games like Black Ops and Black Ops 2, and he'd start playing guitar for people, like any song that they were like, request a song, Thunderstruck, and he started playing it.
Yeah,
like any song they can think of, he'd start playing it. And that was something that really helped him stand out. But for me, I was just making gaming videos, not really doing anything to help me stand out. It wasn't until about 2016 I was really getting into YouTubers like Crash Thompson. Back then, he was the rock critic, rock reviews, and the nostalgia critic at the time. This is before the change the channel controversy came up.
Yep.
Yeah. But back then I was. We don't talk about it. But I was watching a lot of stuff back then. I was like, I can do that. This seemed like kind of fun.
Yeah.
So I got it. So then I started up Metal Robot reviews, and since then I've kept at it as much as possible, and haven't looked back since.
Yeah, I guess I could say the same thing with me. What I grew up on is like, yeah, a lot of. I started with obviously like nostalgia critic, angry video game nerd, like those kind of like review channels kind of deal, and like they're not. I've scrubbed them off the internet. Is like I was really big when like the huge vlog channels were a huge thing, like Shay Carl, like Charles Trippy, and Phil DeFranco a little bit, like before when he was Sexy Phil at the time. Yeah. So like that kind of thing. So like I would do like little vlogs. Like I was like probably like 11 or 10. I was like, I'm going to New York. Look, I'm in look at the Statue of Liberty. Like I'm so.
The sad part is I actually did a video like that. Yeah. I actually did like a vlog when I went to New York with my family. I did a vlog and I filmed it, uploaded it to YouTube. I think it's still up there. I have not looked back at it since.
Yeah.
I pray for the day I don't have to, but
yeah, I made sure like when I was like starting to like start my YouTube again, it was just like, okay. Like I'd like try to remember my old login to my YouTube with like super Pinoy pianist, like get that out of here. But yeah, also I was really into some are kind of available on my YouTube now, but I used to be really into watching drum covers. So my huge thing, like shout out to you, Cooper Drummer, you're like kind of like the inspiration for like my drumming now. I haven't like drummed in a while because I live in the townhouse now. So I like see the drums in the back there, but it's my brother's. But I used to be able to like play at like a bigger house, but now we're in the townhouse. It's like kind of smaller. But yeah, like I got drumming
neighbors.
Yeah, because my brother Ethan he started playing drums, so I picked up playing drums, and I learned through watching YouTube drum covers and also Rock Band. Because weirdly enough, Rock Band drum specifically is really similar to drums. It's really similar. So like what I would used to do is watch like this weird thing about this now, but I used to watch like Rock Band chart videos and just like watch the drums and like try to mimic it on the drums. So like the yellow note is the hi-hat, the green is like the toms, like that kind of deal. So it's just funny thing about now how I did like this really convoluted way of learning how to play certain songs on the drums. But yeah, so like I mentioned with like some like metal in general, like the main one I really kind of want to talk about, and also like if you want to like throw in like some bands like some of your favorite metal bands,
sure.
Code Orange, like it's like speechless of like what to say about them. I made sure I had like ready here. I got like their yeah, so like it's like you see it's like holographic, so like,
I can see. Oh my god, that's awesome.
It's cool. It has like cool because I got into like record collecting lately, and like I definitely need to get this on vinyl. So like I definitely picked that up. But yeah, just like what is your experience with Code Orange? Like how'd you get into them?
I heard about them because, again, going back to many of my YouTube influences, Crash Thompson reviewed the album Forever back when that came out.
Mm,
And the way he was talking about it, I'm like, because by this point, I was still into metalcore and some of the hardcore stuff, but by this point, I was already like starting to notice a pattern with a lot of those like metalcore, death metal, thrash metal, and there was a bit of a pattern that I was like, I want to hear something different.
yep.
Please, for the love of God, someone please do something different. And then Code Orange was brought up on the channel, and he was talking about it. I'm like, that sounds intriguing. And I'm looking at the live footage that he has on screen, and I'm like, that looks so much fun. I
Yeah.
gotta find these guys. I looked them up afterwards. I got the album, and on one day I was busing to college, and it would take like an hour or so to bus to
Yep.
college, but I would play the album on the bus, and I was listening to it, and I think I don't know exactly how I was reacting, but I do remember people on the bus were looking at me funny.
Yep.
That's I think that says it all. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of that album. I'm
Yeah.
like, holy shit,
Yep.
this is one of the best albums of this year. Oh my god,
Mm,
that was my experience with Code Orange. Yeah, and of course, the next one came out. I didn't get to that proper for a review, but I was able to get that. I think it ended up on my best of the year list that year. I
mhm.
can't remember exactly, uh, but yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought it was a good album.
Yeah. Awesome. My experience was because my brother, he doesn't do it much now because of COVID, but like he films a lot of like concerts and shows. And I
Yes.
remember there's this I don't know if it's still going on, but there's this festival that happens in Toronto called This Is Hardcore. It's a lot of like hardcore punk metal bands that come around. But then
Right. Yeah.
I remember Code Orange was on the lineup and he filmed that, and that's kind of like how I got into it. I heard like them a little bit when they're Code Orange kids, because like I had a guy in my music class in high school, like he listened to them a lot, and apparently he looked like the drummer Jamie for at the time. I was like, oh really? So I was like watching videos, like, oh, it looks like him. And I'm like, wait, this actually is awesome. This is sick. So I got into them more, and then I only released the Code Orange kids, but I didn't really more into them after like that album. So then when I saw my brother like film one of their sets, I was like, these sound awesome. Where are they from? Like, oh, they just released an album, I Am King. I'm like, what? And so then from there, I just was a huge fan ever since. And like there's probably other bands out there that are doing the same thing, but I've noticed in Forever they started introducing more like electronic, like industrial kind of sound to their album.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell yeah! Like, and then when they announced like Underneath, I'm like, maybe they'll go more into that. And I'm so glad that they did. They like eased more into that. And then also like they also released like the Heart Will Go On, which has a song with Corey Taylor, which is still sick to see.
Oh
They
yeah.
also like Only One Way Down as well. Like you could see like they're slowly like building up to Underneath. Just the industrial sound just throws me off so much. And for me, I see like there's probably more you could bring. You probably know, but there's like more metal bands that introduce that kind of sound would be amazing. Because as someone who listens to like basically everything, it's like cool. Like see like it's metal, but also electronic, but also like industrial, but also like a little bit of pop, a little bit of rap, like all
Right.
this hodgepodge of different things is amazing to see.
Well, that's the thing I love about metal so much is that there's no real boundary
Yep.
for the metal genre. Anything goes in it. There are people in the metal genre who are like very elitist in that
Oh yeah.
regard, and
Yep.
there's so many of them. But realistically, like metal as a whole, there's no boundaries for what you can do in the genre. Whatever
Mhm.
you think you can add into it to make it sound different, add it in. That is the basis of why metal has survived for so long, because it's evolved, it's adapted with the times, it's brought on so many influences. Rage Against the Machine is a great example of that.
Yep.
They're one of the
100%.
few bands that's like once people could argue started the new metal movement back in
Mhm.
the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it's because of their implementation of heavy metal richness in the instrumentation, but also the absolute fire lyrics and vocal work from Zach De La Rocha. Like
Mm.
that is some good shit right there, and that is a good example of how you can bring on different styles to work in a metal context.
Mhm. Yeah, and also like you reminded me, but like diversity wise, I remember also in the same, I think the same video was the Code Orange, like you did the 10-second review. You mentioned Poppy, and
Poppy. Oh, that was a good one.
and like how was your like? Because I can't, I vaguely remember what you said, but I remember being like basically like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I think if I
Yeah,
remember correctly, I have to remember because as soon as you brought it up, I just immediately pictured what I said. But I think it was along the lines of, "What are you?"
yeah,
I think because even listening to it, I'm like, "This is." I don't know how to feel about this, but I like
yeah,
it.
yep,
Like
exactly.
it was good, but I was also like, I don't know what this is.
Yep.
Someone please help.
Yeah, because for me, again, I've been listening to Poppy since 2017 when she was. It's funny because seeing Poppy now, for me personally, as a fan, is just seeing before because she was like this kind of indie pop, like really bubblegum pop, like really happy music. Then suddenly she makes this like complete 180 turn or like whatever, saying like, I'm just sick of that. Let's do metal. Just her first song is her screaming her
Yeah.
lungs out and like all this insane guitar going on, like Scary Mask with Jason Alon from Fever 333. Just like what happened? Like so I was like, new Poppy song. Like, oh awesome. I can't wait. Never gonna do it. I'm like, what was happening?
Marry me 6 feet deep.
I was like, am I having like a fever? If I have like a fever dream right now, like what's happening?
The thing is, I was not entirely surprised by that because my experience with Poppy before that album came out was her YouTube videos,
Yeah, her YouTube videos, yeah.
content. Not because it was already like I knew she was in like the bubblegum pop era, but
Yeah.
I saw her like YouTube videos and I'm like, one of these days she's gonna snap, and I can't
she
wait.
really, and like it finally happened. Like, oh hell yeah,
It finally happened. Yeah.
man, it's like same deal. Like she's doing songs for the WWE. It's like what, like what's happening? It's like WWE taking all these metal bands, which is cool to see. But yeah, with like Poppy and like Code Orange, just seeing like weirdly seeing them like kind of grow into where they are now is awesome to see, and hopefully they get even bigger. It looks like Code Orange is already on their way since they're opening up for Slipknot now, and
Yeah.
seeing like on like TikTok and like Twitter, people like, who are these guys? It's fucking, they're jumping around, like they're going crazy. It's just cool seeing like, especially I could tell when Jamie, he used to be the drummer and now the singer. I could tell like him drumming and singing is really holding him back because he has to do two things at the same time. And as soon as Swallowing the Rabbit Hole came out, it's just him on the mic. I'm like, what? Like, no way. He's actually just straight up just the singer now of the band, and that was amazing to see.
Oh yeah, yeah. In my own experience, I can tell you, it's hard to be able to perform vocals and play an instrument of any kind, whether it be guitar, drums, anything, because you've got a lot of syncopation, a lot of multitasking you got to do. It's not easy. So I'm glad he made the transition.
Yeah,
It allows for a lot more freedom on the drums.
yeah. And I could say that personally, as someone who was in a band for a bit. It was a song it was mostly, I wasn't really a singer, but I did one song, like a spoken word song myself. And those were my first time experiencing singing and drumming, and I was screaming as well. So it's just like, like I get, like how do people do this? But yeah, along with like metal, what's like some of your favorite metal bands in general?
My biggest, it's hard to pinpoint my exact my all-time favorites of all time.
Mhm.
I know for a fact some of the bands I keep coming back to is, of course, Avenged Sevenfold is one of them. Can't wait for whenever they release something new.
Yep.
Another one I go back to is Epica.
Yep.
Great symphonic metal band. Opeth is one of my personal
Opeth
favorites.
is great. Yep.
Opeth is fantastic. Breaking Benjamin is a good one I like going back to.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of who else. Slipknot, Whitechapel.
Yep.
Trying to think of others. One I keep coming back to, and I don't know if you've heard these guys. Have you ever heard of a band called The Raven Age?
No, I haven't.
So it features the guitar player is the son of the bass player for Iron Maiden.
Okay.
That's how they are getting like their name, but it's like this sort of like melodic metalcore type of band.
Okay.
I keep coming back to them because of their last album, Conspiracy, I think it's called.
Mhm.
And it's so good. If you had a chance, pick it up. Oh my God.
What are they called? They're called Raven.
They're called The Raven Age.
The Raven. I think I found them. Okay, I found them. Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely give them a listen.
Give them a listen. Oh my God. I promise you will become a fan overnight.
Yeah, because I'm a sucker for like melodic, especially like melodic, like kind of metal and,
Yeah,
like, and hardcore
right.
and all that.
Yeah, for me, melody is everything. Whether it be with the vocals or even with the guitar work. any way you can implement some kind of melody into your music, even if you're like the heaviest, dirtiest, most disgusting kind of like metal out there. If there's even a slight melody I can latch onto, something to be able to catch my attention, that's you've got good stuff there.
Yep. Yeah, awesome. I now that you mentioned, I don't know how I completely forgot about Slipknot. Slipknot is like it's like a lot of like I feel like it's something like most metal fans because like how impactful Slipknot is. Like no, I was gonna say was, but still how impactful like their music is, and just like me growing up listening to them. Like again, I didn't start getting to it until like high school when one of my buddies, Cole, shout out to you, buddy. He kind of introduced me to a Slipknot. He's like, "Have you heard of Iowa?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." And it just by the first song is literally just Sid screaming into like the mic. I'm like, "What is going on?" Suddenly, people shit comes on. I'm like, what is happening? Oh, that falls over. But
Your
yeah,
introduction to Slipknot was Iowa. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's just like oh, okay. And then no, actually no. Technically, it was because of Guitar Hero 3. When
There it is. Yeah.
Guitar Hero 3, I think. What was the song?
Duality.
Not Duality. Before I forget, that's what it is.
Yes.
Before I forget,
Okay.
Before I forget, Psychosocial. And if I want to go way back, I'm remembering now this rhythm game back on the PS2 era, like PlayStation 2 era, called Amplitude. They had "I Am Hated" on there, and
Okay.
I still think that's like my favorite Slipknot song, like off of Iowa. But yeah, that was really my introduction to Slipknot. And then like I got the chance to see them back when the Great Chapter came out in like 2015 when they came out. But it was a great opportunity because my friend's like, "Hey, I got an extra ticket. You want to go?" I'm like, "Sure." And then we'll talk about more about concerts because I know you've been to a bunch of concerts. But like a Slipknot concert, if anyone ever gets a chance to see Slipknot live, it's insane because like the
That's a bucket
pyrotechnics.
list show.
Yeah, the pyrotechnics is crazy because like it was at like the Molson Amphitheater, so there was like you've been there before. Have you been there before?
Yeah, I saw Slayer there.
Yeah.
Another show I went to there. I was Disturbed. I saw Breaking Benjamin, Alter Bridge. Yeah, Slayer, Lamb of God, Behemoth.
Yeah.
You gotta say it like that. It's not
Yeah,
Behemoth. It's
Behemoth.
Behemoth.
Yeah.
It's a great place. I still call it. Yeah, it's called something else. The Budweiser stage.
Budweiser stage. We don't talk about
Yeah,
that.
it's Budweiser stage. It's okay. I still refer to it as Molson Amphitheater. Same thing with First Ontario Center in
Cops
Hamilton.
Coliseum.
I still call it Cops. Yeah,
it's still called Cops. And like people outside of Hamilton are like, "What? It's first? Nope. It's Cops. It's Cops.
It's Cops. You cannot change my mind."
But yeah, like you know the layout. It's just like the stage, like the general admission, and then the seats. Every time the flames went up, just like a massive heat wave hit you in the face. It's like, like I wouldn't be able to hit it, but like, yeah, that was a stage show because that was I think it was Bullet for My Valentine, Motionless in White, Lamb of God, and Slipknot. And Lamb of God, I haven't really listened to them at all, but like after that, I was a fan of Lamb of God because just like their stage presence was crazy. Like I would say it's not top 10, but like top 15 like best shows I've been to because just how caught off guard I was with Lamb of God. Because the only like background I had of Lamb of God was Guitar Hero when one of their songs was on there. But yeah, when that came on, I'm like, "Yo, it's from Guitar Hero." So the only person in the entire venue was like that. But yeah, that was like my experience like with Slipknot. And then seeing them now, they're still killing it. I'm loving the new masks. Like Corey's mask is I am a huge fan of it. Some people have their gripes with it. I had a gripe with his. I think it was their last album. I think.
Oh, the mask that they had for what's the album called? The one after the Great Chapter.
That one.
That one. Yeah, I get it. I respect, especially compared to the one they had for the Great Chapter. Corey's mask and that one. It's a mask within a mask.
Yeah.
How do you top that?
Yeah, exactly. And then seeing like what he did now with that, and then seeing the other members too. Like another Slipknot is Jay Weinberg, like the new drummer. R.I.P. Joey Jordison. You'll never be able to replace him. But Jay Weinberg does an amazing job, like filling it, like trying to like fill in his shoes. Also seeing like I don't know if you know like the backstory of him joining the band. Just like it's really cool to like read up on that.
Yeah, I know he was a big fan growing up. Like the picture, the viral picture is like of him as a kid dressed as Joey Jordison, I think.
Yeah.
and or was it a Corey Taylor mask? I don't know, but he was as a kid dressed up for Slipknot, and then eventually he joined his favorite band. Like
Yeah.
that's a great story to hear. It's very it gets you into warm and fuzzies,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
It's warm and fuzzies.
exactly. And it's funny enough that he's like his dad's like Bruce Springsteen's drummer too, which is like an interesting factoid. But yeah, like a little like like condensed version of basically how he joined. He's like, yeah, he grew up like going to shows with him and him and his dad. And then one day, I guess he was talking to Clown. He's like, hey, we're looking for a drummer. Do you want to like practice with us? He's like, oh sure. So apparently they went to the practice room and they're like, Clown just started yelling songs and then they would just play it. And then at that point on, he's like, all right, you're in. It's like that's an interesting. It'll always be like an interesting story for me. Just like kind of like you just walk in like, all right, people, cool shit, go. All right, Wayne Bleed, go. And like Duality, go. Like it's so cool to see that. But yeah, on the topic of concerts, what is like some of the best concerts you've been to?
Ooh, there's so many. I've been to quite a few good shows. There's a show, one of my personal favorite shows to this day. I've been to quite a few, but I think one I really enjoyed, one that I think stuck with me for quite a while. It has to be one I did back in 2019. It was in December. I went to go see in Toronto. I saw Lindsay Schoolcraft for her release show of Martyr.
Mm-hmm.
Who opened her was I forgot the name of the band, but they're going on a different name now. But it was a female fronted hard rock band, followed by Astaroth Incarnate, which is a black metal band. Was a black metal band. They're not really a thing anymore. It's a long story. And then Lindsay Schoolcraft. That was a hell of a show, and I mostly remember it. I like the music. I love to be able to be in the audience for that. But I think the only reason why I remember it is because there was some chick in the front who was either drunk as shit or high on PCP. I don't know what it was, but she was getting handsy with everybody in the front row. She was very hands-on, and she saw I had a Trivium shirt on, and she's like, "Nice shirt," and then would not leave me alone for the rest of the show.
Oh my gosh, I've had someone like that too. It's like, please, I just want to see.
It was so weird, and it was happening during Lindsay's set too. I was like, I came here for Lindsay. I don't. What the fuck are you doing? Stop it.
Yeah.
Either way, it was a good show.
Oh, it's so great. It's a great show.
It's a good show. That's the show that stuck with me. But if I had to really pick out like the best show, it had to be the one that I was at recently for Luthero's. It was Luthero, APOC, and Duskwalker, whose fun fact is lead vocalist is actually one of the hosts at Hits FM in St. Catharines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. And they also been opened up by a new hard rock band called Shot Down Twice. And it's really good. Even if you're not into metal, Shot Down Twice, go check them out. They're a more hard rock band, and they're way more digestible for the average rock audience. But that was my favorite show because it was the first real metal show that I went to since before the pandemic happened. Mm-hmm. And this happened like this show happened like late October, so not too long ago even. Mm-hmm. But it was the most fun experience at a show that I had because it was the first show I've been to in a while, and the energy was there from all the bands. Everyone put up full force. There was all balls to the wall. Everyone's having a good fucking time, and it was overall a fun show. My neck still kind of hurts from it, and it was weeks ago.
I think I saw like on your social like about that, and I see like people in the front were like headbanging. It was like
yes,
that was cool to see. And it was at the Absinthe, and that's like kind of like my stomping grounds of like going to shows back in high school. I went to a lot of shows like, at Absinthe, Doors Pub, the Casbah, and a couple other venues that aren't around anymore, which sucks. But like, yeah, I grew up like in that local music scene a lot. Also, again, shout out to my brother Ethan. He's a huge chunk of like why I'm kind of into music as I am now, because he had a lot of connection. He has a lot of connections with the music scene. So sometimes I used to hate it where it's just like, it's Ethan's little brother. You look like him. I'm like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I know. But like that's how I got before when I first started interviewing bands. They're like, oh, Ethan's little brother. Yeah. Let's do an interview like that. Like so there's some perks with that. But like really now it's just seeing like shows opening up more, and like I finally got. It was weird. Like a couple months ago, I got tickets for this rapper Tyler the Creator and this rap group Brockhampton. Mm-hmm. Like tickets in March. It's in March, but still, it's weird to see. Yeah. It's weird to say like I got concert tickets. Like I wasn't able to say that for like the longest, for like a year or almost two. It's just like,
Yeah.
because it's always up in the air if there's going to be concerts again. Now finally everything's opening up. Everyone's announcing tours, which is weird because now I'm on Instagram. Before, pre-COVID, it's just like we're doing a tour, we're doing a tour, we're doing a tour, and then suddenly all that completely gone for a year was weird. And then now seeing like tour dates, I'm like, wow, are we actually like, concerts are back? It's like an awesome feeling.
Oh yeah, and obviously there's still like restrictions at these shows.
For sure.
Like you, like in that cell phone footage, you can kind of tell some people are still wearing masks in the pit, and that's totally fine. I'm okay with that as long as I can go to these shows.
Yeah.
That's the experience is still worth it. Mask or no, the experience is worth it.
Exactly. But I guess like a couple of my favorite shows. Think about it now. Like you mentioned black metal, Death Heaven. Like I was a huge, like I was a huge. I still am. Like even though like their newest album is more leaning more towards like the shoegazy like kind of. I don't know if you ever heard it, yeah. But still, like when that entire, I think it's Sunbather that came out.
Yeah, Sunbather. That I think that ended up on my best of 20. Like I mentioned, I think I mentioned Sunbather. I don't remember which year it came out, but I mentioned it on my my best albums of the decade video, like before 2020 inserted itself into reality. I talked about it there. Sunbather's good. I do remember that one being very, very good.
But yeah, like it was right when New Bermuda came out. Also, and they came to Hamilton too, which was an insane thing. And then I mentioned, like, I remember, like my friend saying, "Oh, happy birthday, Zach! We're going to see Death Heaven." I'm like, what? And then when we got to see them, it was an interesting experience because like I've seen footage of like Death Heaven concerts and seeing kind of like the crowd. It's like either they're kind of like just kind of like vibing out to it, or like they're really into it because that's how their music is really. You know, it's just like this kind of calming thing. It's only blast beats come in, the singer like goes all out. One of my favorite concert memories we'll go into, but like the singer had his hand out, I grabbed his hand, and he was like doing I think it was doing Dream House. He was like screaming right in my face. I'm like, this is awesome. like that entire show was just, thinking about it now, like
it's magical.
It was like, hey dude, I like your song. and I got to talk to the guitarist for a little bit after the show. But yeah, that was a different vibe of like shows I go to usually. So it was like kind of not, I don't know, be eye opening, but it was like a very interesting experience. And then again, Slipknot was an awesome show. Like the Tyler the Creator, I've seen him like twice, right? I'm seeing him for the third time in March. I'm mad excited for that. But yeah, like those ones are like my top favorite concerts. And on the same topic on concerts, what's something like interesting, funny, or weird concert experiences you've had?
Besides the woman possibly on PCP?
Yeah.
There was at the Slayer show that I went to. I was unfortunately I was not able to achieve this bucket list of attending a Slayer mosh pit. I've heard so many stories about a Slayer mosh pit. I was like, I gotta be in one. And this was during Slayer's farewell tour.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was their farewell.
Yeah, it wasn't their final farewell tour, but it was the last. It was one of the few ones that they were doing in that they came to Toronto with. So again, it was Lamb of God was there. I think Testament was there. So was Behemoth, and Anthrax was another one as well.
Really, Anthrax? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was Slayer, Anthrax, Lamb of God, Behemoth, and Testament. But that was during Behemoth set. The majority of it was basically me staring at the big TV screen rather than at the band. Mm-hmm. For the simple reason that when I was watching it, when I was trying to watch the show, this dude in front of me in this battle jacket was standing up trying to film the show. Now, this is something I don't really have a problem with because I can, again, like I can't see the band, sure, but I can see the monitor.
Yeah.
Right. I can see what the band wants me to see for this performance. So, okay, I'm fine with that. Bunch of dudes behind me were just yelling at this dude who was like clearly out of an earshot at this concert. But they're just yelling profanity, slurs at him, like, like, sit down, shit like that. And I was like, I'm sitting here like, okay, he's not bothering me. You are. Shut up.
Yeah.
And that was the entire set. Thankfully, eventually the dude in the front did sit down. So they got these guys to be quiet. But I was just sitting here like, what do you do in this situation? Because, yeah, they're right. Like, they are right. But at the same time, just look at the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Just look at the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like your entire view is blocked. Look at the screen. If you don't want to look at the dude's massive ass back patch, look at the screen. Just look at the screen and shut up. Like, fuck.
I guess kind of a similar one is like when I saw Slipknot. For some reason, there was like this drunk older dude who kept yelling "Machine Head," but Machine Head wasn't in the lineup at all. But every time he's like, "Machine fucking Head." Machine.
I came for Machine Head. I came for Machine Head.
Like, literally every single like from both my Valentine, Motions in White, Lamb of God to Slipknot, he's like Machine Head. Like, are you in the right concert, dude? Like, what are you doing?
It's like if I went to go see Disturbed and someone was yelling, "Madonna!
Madonna, where are you at?
Where you at, Madonna? I'm here for you!"
Do you have any other ones that comes to mind?
No, like,
those
for the
are
most part,
toppers. I think those two have been
those two are like
three.
the top ones.
Three
Yeah,
have
for the
been
most
great.
part, like my concert experiences have always been kind of, they've been pretty normal. They've just been, get in the pit, have some fun, enjoy the music, get some merch, get the hell out, right?
Yep.
Pray and also make sure you tip the servers well, because they're here to have a good time as well, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's for the most part like my concert experiences. But those two stories, like those few stories, are the ones that really stuck with me.
Yeah, I think for me, the Machine Head one, I'll forever have that. Like, I've listened to Machine Head before, but ever since I hear Machine Head song or anything Machine Head, I really think of this old dude screaming Machine fucking Head at a Slipknot concert.
That is one way to listen to Catharsis. That's one way to get through that album.
But yeah, a couple of my favorites was that one. Also, I remember this now. Like 182 at the Molson Amphitheater. This guy had this thing of poutine, tripped really badly, and you can imagine what happened after that. And the entire crowd was like, "Oh!" Like, because we're in the lawn seat, so his guy was like in like the middle, so everyone could see him. He just, it's like America's Funniest Home Videos like going on like right in front of me.
Is there footage of that online? I want to find that after this.
I hope somewhere. I haven't really looked into it. But another one was there's this local band. I don't know if they're around still like a hardcore band called Life Ruiner. They're like they're doing a show, and there's a huge pit going on. Suddenly I see these two guys look at each other. Guy jumps on his back and just runs in the pit, windmill swinging. I was like, that was kind of like my first experience at like a hardcore punk show. I'm like, so this is what the shows are all about?
No, the shows get interesting when you're in the pit and doing the circle pit stuff. Yep. You're running around, and in the opposite direction is this 10-year-old girl running the opposite direction. That's when shit gets weird. Because it's like, what do you do?
Like, what is happening? Like, I hope no one hits her, because she's gonna go flying across the venue.
I think. I still remember because that did actually happen to me at a Trivium show, and I got knocked flat on my ass because I wasn't expecting it. A 10-year-old girl running around the pit, and if anybody sees me in public, I'm a big dude. I'm like 6'2". I'm kind of, I wouldn't say hefty, but I'm also not exactly skinny either. Mm-hmm. And this 10-year-old girl's running around the pit opposite direction. I get knocked flat on my ass, and I'm like, what the hell happened? I didn't realize that was the case until I went to the McDonald's close by to the venue afterwards, where bunch of later concert goers were, and they were like, "Yo, did you guys see the 10-year-old girl running around the pit too?" I was like, "I'm not alone."
It's like in Call of Duty when you get like you're all shaky, like your blurry vision.
Yeah.
The only thing you'll see is her, like her eyes are red. She's like buff. She's like, "Don't cross me, like don't cross me again." But yeah, a couple of my favorite shows. I remember when I got winded really badly at one.
Oh no!
Because this pop-up band like Pacific, a Toronto band, shout out, and they have this one song called like "Stay Pissed," and that's like their one like hardcore like song. So everyone's in the pit having fun. Suddenly this guy comes on the door, right like on like.
No!
I just go like. And that's like my first time ever being like. I feel like my first time getting winded. So I was kind of like, am I like dying here? Like, what's happening? So like I like stumble away, sit back on a chair. My friend's like, "Zach, that was so cool. Like, you're in the pit, whatever." I'm like, yeah, that was great. it was a good time.
That was fantastic.
So like, but ever so on, because that's usually like their last song. So every time that comes on, I'm like, I
just get ready to duck
from the front to like to the back is like usually me during those kind of shows. I'm like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that. Also, like one of the first time I ever crowd surfed was at another like a show at Absinthe. Like I don't know if you have any crowd surf stories, but like I at Absinthe with this emo band Citizen. Shout out to you. I say shout out a lot, but like Citizen, shout out to you guys. The first time I ever crowd surfed was like that was like grade 11. And like at the time, like I never thought about crowd surfing. There's only like I was just in that energy. I'm like, I'm ready to have like a good time. So I crowd surf once and then twice because like I just couldn't believe I was doing that. But that was another one. Also Warped Tour where I almost got kicked out because I was crowd surfing, because at the time like Warped Tour had these huge signs.
At Warped Tour, like yeah, no moshing, none of that kind of stuff. It's not allowed at all.
Yeah, but like no one when that first out, no one gave a shit about those rules. So like you see everyone breaking those rules, and suddenly I remember seeing another pop punk band, Knuckle Puck. I crowd surf at the end of their song. I get to the front, security yanks me down. He's like, "Brent, I'll see you do that shit again. I'm gonna kick you out of this venue." I'm like, it's my last band anyway, so I'll see ya. But that's like those kind of things. I've seen like fights happen at concerts. Those are interesting. Like seeing like fist fights happen. I remember one Seaway band, pop punk band from Oakville. They're doing like their kind of slow songs. So it was even more funnier because it's like their slow songs. So I'm like, what are you guys doing over there? Like what? Like this isn't the type of show. Like what the heck? This isn't a hardcore show. We're supposed to be here to have fun, guys. What the heck?
I heard Corey Taylor talk about how like he saw people moshing to Bother.
Yeah.
You've heard Bother, right? So
Yep.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Anybody who hasn't heard Bother, it's this super like slow, depressing song, and apparently people are moshing to it. Like Corey's up there saying, "Wish I was too dead to care," and people are in the mosh pit like, "Yeah!"
Go! It's like those videos that people like mosh pitting at like classic concerts, like orchestra band concerts. People doing a circle pit. It's like this is hilarious. Like just to see this.
I must say, this Beethoven here is making me really, really fucking rowdy.
Oh, the fifth movement of the chapel. I love this song.
On stage, dun, 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 and everyone's fucking waving people around in the pit.
I think those ones are my like favorite ones. A lot of favorites. I don't know if you know the band Counterparts, like that band.
Doesn't sound familiar to me.
Oh man, they're a Hamilton band, a Hamilton like metalcore, like post-hardcore band. They're still huge, but I remember because my brother as well. He remembers seeing them like when their first album, Current Will Carry Us, came out, and then seeing them like kind of grow. And then for me to keep listening to them to now is awesome. It's funny enough. Fun fact: the new drummer of the band, he used to do like rock band drum videos, like him like. I'm gonna do a Black Dahlia Murder song on like Rock Band Drums 100%, like those kind of songs. Like I was like, okay, awesome. And suddenly I see like, oh yeah, this guy here, Kine Brownlee, he's like the new drum. Like, why does that name sound familiar? I like look on YouTube, like it's that guy. It's that guy watching like elementary school, high school. I'm like, yo, this guy's sick. I mentioned him when I saw him like most recently. I'm like, I remember seeing you in Rock Band, and all. He's like, "What the? It's like you're like the first dude to say that to me." It's like,
how do you respond to that? It's like, wait,
are you? I'm like, yo, you're Blind Zor. I'm like, I haven't heard that name in such a long time. It's just like, it's like that experience. Like everyone's taking pictures like with Brendan Murphy, the singer. I'm like, nah, I got a picture with Kyle over there.
Yeah. He just had his first Obi-Wan moments. Like, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, like all those shows are always great. I love Brendan Murphy. If you ever see like his Twitter specifically, he's hilarious on Twitter. And then seeing like his like banter with the audience is hilarious as well. And but yeah, like those ones are my favorites. Do you have dream concerts you would want to see, like Alive or Dead? It was like some point.
Oh, everyone has their bucket list concerts. Yeah. Like the big one, of course, is like Slayer Mosh Pit. That's a big one for many metalheads. For many concert goers, Kiss is a good big bucket list. I actually did go see them with my mom.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
You can tell that they've been around for way longer than they need to. They're telling the audience, at a Kiss show, you stand up. Meanwhile, there's like okay, but there's chairs here. There's in the pit. There's chairs. So what?
Unless you're throwing the chairs around, then you're gonna.
Yeah, but the Kiss show, like it was a good show. They Kiss nowadays they're very sloppy with their playing. They played the exact same songs for every single set, but as a whole, they are like it's a bucket list show. Like you got to see them at least once in your lifetime. Slayer, of course, is a good one. I want to see Rammstein in concert.
Oh my god!
I
awesome.
must at some point. I think I was supposed to see them when they were coming to Montreal, but I don't know if this was in 2020 or not. But I was supposed to see them, and then I guess I just didn't. But yeah, it was that Rammstein is a bucket list concert. I must see them at least once. That's a show I cannot ever miss. Who else? Slipknot, of course. I got to see them at some point. Dream Theater, I'd love to see.
I don't know how I forgot about Dream Theater. Oh my gosh.
Well, Dream Theater, I can.
Yeah, I love.
Here's the Octavarium is my favorite album of all time. Yeah. That is my all-time favorite. Everybody asks, it's always the same. Octavarium. Now, whether it's the album or the song, that's my favorite album.
Yeah. Hold on, let me try to. Which album that I remember in high school, because my really childhood best friend Eric.
Train of Thought, maybe? Was it Train of Thought or Metropolis?
I'm like going through. I think it was Metropolis, or I remember because it has the song I like had on loop for most of my. I forgot how big their discography is. Where is it? Oh my gosh.
Mostly 10 plus songs.
Yep.
10 plus minute songs.
Systematic Chaos is another one. I remember him showing me. I got it. Oh, Metropolis. Yeah, Metropolis Part 2. What's the song called? I need to find this. This is gonna kill me if I don't find it. Dance of Eternity. That one. Like,
yes.
Like that song. I remember him because he's awesome. My friend is awesome at piano. He could do like the entire like, what is the name of the pianist? Oh my gosh.
Oh God, I'm forgetting his name too, but I know who you're talking about.
Jordan Rudess. He could do like his entire piano solo in that, and I'm like, what's that from? And I'm like, oh, that's from that song. And he showed me the entire song, and it's like my first time ever hearing a song at the time like that transitions a lot in the song. Like Dream Theater's like, I know they're known for that, but I had no context of Dream Theater before. But like hearing Dance of Eternity just keep switching the sound throughout the song was like mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dream Theater. My friend got to see them live. I know that's his all-time favorite band. So he was showing me like he only took like 1 or 2 videos because he wanted to soak it all in. Because like obviously like I think that'll be me too if I guess I could kind of go into like who I want to see live or dead. Daft Punk, I have them tatted on me. I mention this every time.
Yeah.
But like they're like my number one I think music inspiration. But like I know they're not like they're kind of broken up now. But like they're like my bucket list band. Literally if they announce like we're gonna perform in Alaska, I'm like, guess I'm going to Alaska then.
Yeah. Guess I'm taking a trip.
That's like that my one like excuse like hall pass. Like I want to like this is like I'll go anywhere. Like I remember it was so terrible. I got pranked so hard. It was like around April Fools. It was on April Fools. It was like Daft Punk playing it.
That should have been the first clue.
Yeah, well, I was dumb and I was blind. Like I see Daft Punk like they're playing on Lollapalooza. I'm like, go to Chicago, baby. And then I'm like, it's April Fool's joke. I'm like, go. Like, no.
How far did you make it before you found out?
I actually read the article. So there's like 10 seconds of me being really hyped and then immediately disappointed.
See, when you mentioned that, I was imagining like you actually flew to Chicago and then you were like, where is Daft Punk? Where is then you actually pulled up the article and read it then. And I was like, fuck.
I mean, I would have been happy either because all the lines I like, but still Daft Punk would have been like, I'm there. But yeah, I think Daft Punk was like number one for me, and then I think like generic answer, but Queen, like the original lineup with Freddie.
Yes, I would love to see Queen with Freddie Mercury again. None of that hologram shit either. Get the real deal. Yeah. Revive him. Get him out of the cemetery. Great, revive him.
At this point, I think we have the technology to do it. Like, dude,
we have the technology. We have the technology to get a hologram. Why not revive?
We had hologram Tupac. We could have a hologram Freddie Mercury.
Not hologram shit. I want him revived. I want to start the potential zombie apocalypse by having a Queen concert.
Or like a Weekend at Bernie's, like someone like puppeteering, like. We are the jail. Are you okay, Freddie? He has sunglasses on the entire time. It's like, oh, cool. I would pay to see that, honestly. Like,
uh,
and like someone like you can see like his mouth like, "Mama."
Mama.
They just seem like this is they kind of give up on him trying to play, just like smacking like a freaking Sesame Street character, just like. Oh my gosh, I would pay for that if that was like a new, if that was like if that's a new wave of concerts in the future, like we dig dead singers out of their grave, just have them like puppeteer. I would pay good money for that. I'll be front row right there.
You've heard of Weekend at Bernie's. How about Weekend at Queen's? Weekend at Freddy's.
Weekend at Freddy's. Oh no. Oh,
we're going to hell.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's fine. I've already got a seat next to the throne. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. What else was I gonna bring up here? I guess like what have you been listening to lately? Like what's kind of what you've been like on loop lately?
For me, it's mostly it's mostly just been like for the most part just demos of songs I'm working on for the EP. But it's on top of that, I've started getting into this this hard rock band. It's technically been around for a long time, but I just found again The Warning. You ever heard of them?
I heard the name before. I really like listening.
So they're a three sister group. They've actually been around for a long time. Technically, they got their first taste of virality because as a trio they did an amazing cover of Enter Sandman by Metallica, and nowadays they're like an actual full blown hard rock band. And I got into them because they remind me so much of Hailstorm. If they were
Hailstorm, yeah,
awesome. If they were brought up in Mexico,
really.
Yeah, because cool. the band's like The Warning's from Mexico, but they're not. It doesn't really show that much in their music until they start speaking Spanish. But it's really fucking good. That I've also any albums I have to try to review. Like I'm currently working on a review for. Let's see if I can even pull it up here. Right now I'm looking at a double album that people on Twitter voted for because they hate me. I told people like, hey, what do you want me to review? Do you want me to review this album I went on a funny rant for on Instagram? Do you want me to talk about this Southern Fry shit? Or, oh dear God, why is it a double album? And with a vote, with 9 votes, 56% were like, do the double album. I'm like, you bastards.
How dare you do this to me?
I don't care that much about it. I'm happy that people like are invested in that, but I'm also just like, you're just creating more work for yourself. Why did you even include that as an option, Tom? Like at that point, that's your own damn fault.
Yeah.
Albums I need to review. Again, like songs that I'm demoing out for the EP. And I'm also, what else? Just anything else that comes to mind that I want to listen to again, like Epica, of course, Trivium, most of my favorite bands, just stuff like that. It all comes up. Like most of the time when I'm on the way to work, I'll just hit play and I'll hit shuffle on something, or I'll be like, I'm reminding of this song. Let's hit the play on this, and just go for a walk, and then I'll do that.
Awesome. I can give you. I don't know if you ever heard of listen to the band Knock Loose.
Oh, Knock Loose, I've heard of them. Yeah, I think have I talked about them on the show? I don't know if I talked about them on the show, but I've definitely heard of Knock Loose.
Yeah, they released an EP like 2 weeks ago, "A Tear in the Fabric of Life."
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
I totally if you want to if you need another thing to review, it's an EP, but oh my gosh, I was like. When it came, it was a surprise release too, because they just was like, "Yeah, new EP, what?" And then so I was like, "Oh, I'll listen to it while I was walking to work." And I'm used to their music, but this is the meanest I think I've ever heard them ever. Like Brian Garris, the singer, he goes all in on this.
Don't overhype it. Don't overhype it. I've heard Knock Loose before. I'm the meanest they've ever been.
No, just for me, who's been listening again since the beginning, hearing them their grow to where they are now, which is Knock Loose is kind of the punch someone in the face kind of music, but this is, you could tell they grew a lot in this, and it makes me hyped. It makes me hyped whenever they release an album. if they're gonna go in this direction. It's cool to see like bands try to like experiment. Like yeah, they can stay comfortable and do like the kind of the same sound for the next like couple weeks, couple years, Blink-182. What? So like there's like I like bands like Code Orange, like Knock Loose, like bands like that, like gamble. Like if we do this new sound, are we still gonna have like our fans, or like who's gonna stay with us still? So it's cool to see like bands like make these risks. And like in Knock Loose case, it's nothing like insane. Like they're not doing like hip, like not doing country R&B now, but like it's you could tell they've kind of like polished their sound a lot. That's the best way I can say. Like you could tell like they really polished their sound for this EP.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to add it to the list. I don't know if I'll actually get to it for a full review, but I might end up covering it on the 10-second purge eventually.
Yeah, I'm like looking forward to hearing your opinion on it, because it's interesting seeing like for me seeing like, especially like you mentioned at the beginning, like there's a lot of like metal gatekeepers, like elitists out there. It's like this isn't real metal. But I remember seeing when Death Heaven opened for Lamb of God one tour, and amount of people like booed them while they're performing. It's like, come on, guys, like it's like what's the deal?
It's so dumb. The gatekeeping bullshit makes no fucking sense. They're not. Here's the thing I've learned: they're not even many of those gatekeeper elitists. They're not even consistent amongst themselves. Like you were talking about people at the Lamb of God show booing Death Heaven. Elitists are also booing Lamb of God because there's like a mainstream metal band now. It's like consistency, people. Have you heard of it?
Exactly. It's like, oh no, my like band that gets more attention is getting more attention now, and actually like attention for people is they're getting like all that. Like, oh no, they've sold out. I was like, no, they're just like, that's what happens when someone gets big. They get a lot of attention. They get a lot of like people like all eyes on them. I don't know. That's just
there was a story. And we're veering out of metal here, but I heard about this when I was looking back at Crash Thompson's work. He did a retrospective on Green Day. And when they signed with, I think it was Rise Records for Dookie. They I don't know if it was Rise Records or not, don't quote me, but they signed with this big label to release Dookie, and their original like SoCal punk scene fucking hated them. As a result.
I remember hearing about I can't remember what the venue's called, but it used to be like the venue where like all like the local punk bands, and then they immediately like booed like, y'all signed to a record label, you're out of here.
They didn't unban them until Green Day got signed with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, basically. That is some petty shit right there. That's sorry, insane, that's petty. It makes no sense either. Like, hold on, this band is making a choice so that they don't have to be starving and on the road, tired all the time for our engagement, and their suffering. Boo! You know, it makes no fucking sense.
I never
it makes no sense.
Like, I know some people who are like that, like, I don't listen to that guy anymore. Ever since he like did like signed to this record label. Like, well, what do you expect? Do you want to?
Metallica fans are worse for this.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh, people still hate on the Black Album because it's like sell out, and like, you guys don't even, for whatever reason, don't even like Ride the Lightning either, because they included an acoustic guitar in one part. What is wrong with you people?
Hey, okay.
To be fair, not everybody, but there were some people. From what I heard the stories about this, so some people in the Metallica community hated the fact that Metallica dared to include an acoustic guitar on one of their thrash metal albums.
Okay. Asking because I hear this from everyone, and as you like as a Metallica fan, is Saint Anger that bad?
This is pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I remember
it's
watching.
Pretty bad.
I remember watching a video saying like doing Metallica songs, but the snare from Saint Anger, like, and it's just a garbage. It's like a garbage tin. like
basically, yes. Like, I mean, have you heard anything from that album? Anything at all?
After the video, I looked at him like, oh my gosh. Like
they were right.
It was like just like the Tom's snare, like as a drummer, it killed me. You could just sound like he's saying a garbage thing the entire time.
Here's the thing, like the thing about Lars Ulrich is that he's like, if he gets his way, like he usually has a really bad taste of good drum sounds. Like if you like, there's a horror story about the drum production, the drum mixing for And Justice for All. Basically the mixer had it all set up where he's like, this sounds great, and then Lars came in and it's like, that's not what I asked for. What do you do this? And the guy looked at him like, oh, you were serious? You wanted that? Oh, fuck it. All right. It's going to sound like shit, but that's okay. Let's do it. And then, of course, St. Anger, the garbage tin. Yeah. It didn't help that also, like, there was so much wrong with that album on the band's part, not just with Lars, but around this time, of course, James is getting out of rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the band members. There's also, I think this is the first official Metallica release that featured Robert Trujillo on bass.
Like the new
and
one.
Yeah. Instead of James Newsted or Jason Newsted, sorry. Oh God, I can feel the Metallica fans coming at me now. I can feel it in the comment section. Yeah, exactly. It's like, how dare you say James Newsted? But,
I like saying Anger.
Oh God, you're gonna get some of those, I guarantee it. But no, like, because that's the funny thing. I see people nowadays. St. Anger's on the rise again.
Really?
But the Defenders are coming up, and I get it. Like, if you're into St. Anger's sound, more power to you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. But I'm also listening to it. And I'm like, what are you hearing? Because I'm curious. I want to dissect your brain to know what you're hearing, because I do not get you, man.
Yeah. Like
I don't judge people's music taste, but it's something that's like I don't get.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like at this point in my life where I'm like, to each their own, like, kind of spiel. Like, but there's some times where I'm like, am I going crazy? Like, everyone's like so hyped about this thing. I'm here like, what's going on? Like,
that's the beauty of the human hearing. Everyone has their own taste. Everyone has their own experiences.
At the end of the day, like, it's to each their own, really. When at the time though, I'm like, I don't understand the hype behind it. And then I sit there, I'm like, no, it's just like to each their own. Like, really, like, it's like everyone's hearing's different. So like I can't really, like, before I'd get like those people on there and like, how dare you not like this album? Now I'm like, that sucks. All right. Like, anyways, like the meme, like, oh no. Anyways, like that's just like me now.
Thankfully, I don't get stuff like that. Like, whenever I review an album that, well, there was one instance I did get that, but I'll get to that in a second. But there was, like, for the most part, when I put out a Seg negative review, I don't get their fans in my comment section anymore. I think people are understanding the mindset of someone else's opinion, who gives a shit. But the one album I reviewed, this is back in, I think, 2016, Sepultura's Machine Messiah. I reviewed that album, and I don't remember giving it a bad review at all. I think it was pretty, like, in middle of the road. Like, it was okay, but it's like they could have done better. I will admit I fucked up a couple times with the band members' names. But that was for quite a bit one of my most viewed videos by Sepultura fans, and is still my most disliked video from Sepultura fans. And I wish I could pull up the comments for it, but they were.
I see it.
You're trying to the fans were not happy with me at all. But jokes on them, though. As a result, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll give it another chance. See if I can find what they're talking about. Because their main complaint was that I was just not understanding it. Like, how could I see that it was like all mixed together, all the songs kind of blended together after a while? I was like, you know what? Maybe you have a point. So let me try to listen to this and just pick out the songs on their own. Fast forward to December, it's on the worst of the year list. I'm like, serves you right, guys. You don't do that.
That's hilarious.
Oh, and I featured the comments there too. It just made me laugh. I like I have to pull this up. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, but it was amazing. Like, one of the comments, I'd have to pull it up, but because I just saw like those comments and I could not help but laugh. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
Oh, here's my favorite comment. One of my favorite comments is and again, I made a mistake. I called the lead vocalist name is Derek. I called him Dennis at one point by mistake.
Oh, I just saw that comment. Yeah.
That was my bad. People were not happy about that. But the comment is it just says, I was hoping for a helpful review, but all I got was someone with a short attention span who has never bothered with Sepultura since Roots and doesn't even know the singer's name. To be clear, I think I mentioned Derek's name multiple times. Derek's name multiple times in that review, but I only called him Dennis once. That was my bad. But at the same time, like, dude, what do you do?
It's like, don't worry about it, man. Like,
it's like, dude, calm down.
It's such
The
like a
Sepultura.
little thing to be mad about. It's just like, why?
Yeah, I'm like, guys, it's a video
Yeah,
of some. At the time, I was like, what, like 18, 19 years
yeah.
old? This is 2017. I like this was fair. I was still fairly young, and I'm like, some dude on the internet. Calm the fuck down.
It'd be a different story if you like, I hate this album, hope this band dies. Like, oh, if that was the case, then yeah,
Yeah,
two
like
people would be
I
you
was
just
being.
I didn't like the album. That's it.
Yeah, like I was being, as far as I remember, I was being as critical as possible. I was making sure that I explained my points as well as possible. I made sure that I made it very clear what I was talking about, and people still flipped out. Like that's the nature of the business, I guess.
Yeah.
But really, I just like, I love looking at comments like this, and I'm like, it's adorable. It's adorable.
It's adorable. That's good. That's a good word. Like, oh,
Because
my
I
little
don't-
champ over there getting angry.
Yes, it's like, oh, you little rascal. Give me.
Go to bed.
Yeah, it's like, take a timeout. You've earned the timeout.
I think like I find me personally, like if there's something I don't like, I'm not like, like I don't like it, but I could still find things that I like about it. Like certain albums I'm not a huge fan of. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, I like this song here. Like for me, I know some people who are like complete opposite. Like, no, I just blindly like, or just like hate. I'm just like, especially now where I am now in life, I'm like it's just a waste of time to kind of just be like angry all the time. At least so now I'm like, especially a little personal. Like I go to therapy now, but like I've learned like through like that. It's like, hey, like you don't have to be angry. You could like try to like level yourself with that. It's like, hey, you might not like this album, but like why? And then like I try to look into like, oh, because I don't like the melody of this, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, a huge one, I guess. I don't know if you know the rapper Logic at all.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, but like in like the hip hop community before, he was kind of like this hated person. Like everyone like hated, because before he was like kind of like this. People said I was part of that. I like look back now, I was one of those people who like followed like the hate train of Logic. Even though before all that happened, I was a fan of his music. And then like the huge like meme from like this album, everybody, he's white and black, and he brings up like he's biracial. So like people used to meme like, oh, biracial, and I was like part of that crowd. And then looking back now, and then like listen to his album he released last year, which was my album of the year, No Pressure. He talks about like what he went through during that time. And then I have his book right here, This Bright Future. Like he released an autobiography about his like childhood and like what he went through during that era of everyone bullying him. And I look back now, I'm like, why was I like that? And like why was a lot of people like that during that time? It's like people like just like, everyone hates Logic. All right, let's go. Everyone come along, like join. Even like a month before that, sorry, I was like, I love his stuff. So it's like weird how like the human mind works like that. Where like
it's
it goes
same
like
thing
that.
happened with Justin Bieber when he was coming up, like back in the days of baby. Like, okay, to be fair, that's a shit song, but nonetheless, but in all fairness, that's a shit song. But back in the day, like everybody, like he became popular, everybody in my circle started hating him, and I can't remember exactly why. I mean, because nowadays I can look back and like that song, like that his music wasn't exactly good.
Yeah.
But I don't think people were hating on him because of the music. None of us were musically inclined back then.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
So my theory is that people, like all the people in my circles, hated him because all of the girls in our circles loved him.
Yep.
Like that was something that I felt. I feel like was one like the connecting thread. Like girls love him, boys we hate him. We hate him because we don't compare.
He looks like a girl. It's like that kind of
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I like that scenario, I think, because like I bring up the fact like, oh, I listen to Logic, I like his album. Like, Logic, he's corny, he's like this. I'm like, have you listened to his new album? No, it's probably more of that. I'm like, no, I should give it a listen. And they're like, oh, like okay,
yeah.
Like what's going on with that? Also, huge one like Justin Bieber, Carly Rae Jepsen. Like everyone knows her from Call Me Maybe, but like her music now excels that. In my opinion, like everyone knows her, but like her music now, and it's like Bieber's music. I don't like his album before, but like there's a little bit like where his music was actually pretty all right. But with Carly Rae Jepsen, she went to more kind of like this like Madonna like sort of pop sound to it, and everyone I feel like the same deal. Everyone hated her at the beginning, Carly, but now when she releases new stuff, Emotion, and her new album, everyone's like, oh yeah, Carly, yeah, I was always there for her. Like, yeah, sure you were.
Yes, okay, but
Uh,
okay, buddy.
yeah, but then I saw her in 2019 when she came to Hamilton. That was a awesome show. It was like cool to see like a different crowd with that. It's like a bunch of
Mhm.
like dude like it was like oh like obviously girls there, but there's a lot of dudes like yeah let's go. Also like another thing too. I won't get into it a lot, but like I like K-pop. I've seen the K-pop group twice. This is girl group. Went to New Jersey to see them. My entire row was all dudes, and we all were
Of course.
and we were all drunk during it, and we're like, "Whoa!" Like, there's some videos I have on my phone. I might throw one. It's embarrassing, but like, there's just me and you see everyone in the crowd like, "Yo, let's go!" Like that. That's like probably one of my favorite concert stories was that. But yeah, like, it's weird how that works. Like nowadays, where like you like at least for me, I look back now at stuff I hated, and I look back and I'm like, I actually like it a lot. Why was I like that? Because like you're in high school or college, right, and you're still trying to
Yeah.
develop something like emotions or whatever.
You're still finding your sound. You're still finding your niche,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, I don't even know what the original. Yeah, what we've been listening to lately. Like, I think that was like the beginning of it.
Yeah.
But
This is the thing. This is how most of my conversations
yeah,
go. Bless you ADHD. But that's
yeah,
how things usually go.
but yeah, a couple rap albums I've been listening to. Amine released an album EP 2.5 is great. JPEG Mafia, he's one of the most what's the most diverse rappers I think right now because he likes to do this fusion of like a little bit of like rock metal and also like a thing I got really into like last year was sampling how like rappers and like EDM artists sampled other songs and like put into their songs. Like for example, for me, for Daft Punk, One More Time, it's from this song from like the 50s or 60s, like this disco song, but they brought it in, they slowed it down, they reversed it, and like took like literally like a second of the song and looped that, and like that, dun, 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 like the beginning of the song, it comes from that. So like stuff like that, or like JPEG Mafia, he like samples video games. So like you hear like a soundtrack from Ridge Racer and you hear him like freestyling over it, or like you hear Mortal Kombat like smoke like it like during like the one of the songs. It's like and then they he samples Counter Strike and like all these things like that's like for me personally that's like the one of the most unique artists I've seen like sample like that. It's not just like a sampling a song, it's like him like sampling like for example, sometimes he would want to get like a James Brown going, hey, but they can't get it because of like copyright or like where we
Yeah.
like pay $1,000 to get like it's like screw that. So he just does it himself. He just makes it like sound similar to it, like that kind of thing. I just find interesting how like musicians in general, how they get some sounds like that. Like it's just
You got to be
hilarious.
creative.
Yeah, like just like perfect example. I think it's Slipknot Duality. Like duh, 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 duh. It's just a clown hitting a trash can. Like that example is like it's really just that. That's awesome.
Exactly. It's about getting creative with your sounds, getting creative with what you have on store.
Mhm.
I've seen like one YouTuber I follow is Andrew Huang. Have you ever heard of him?
Yes.
Andrew, yeah, so like Ed, he can make music out of anything.
Yep.
So he grabs random things in his kitchen, or it's like something he'll just find on the internet. It's really weird. This freaking golden pineapple he'll make a song out of. It's like there's no limits to what you can do with everything around you if you're creative enough to make it.
Mm-hmm. A couple other ones I've been listening to lately. I don't know if you know, if you know this band called Clowncore. Have you heard of them?
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke that 10-second songs made up.
But yeah, there's this band called Clowncore. It's interesting because like still it's a mystery who because it's two people. It's like it's still a mystery who the heck they are behind the mask. But like if you ever
Right.
listen to I'll probably send you them, but if you ever like write it down, like their song Computers is like my introduction to them. And it's like this weird mix of like industrial metal. It suddenly just kicks into this jazz, like really jazzy song. It's a interesting. I like it. It'd be interesting if you ever do a reaction, just clowncore in general. Just like I could send you a bunch of like their songs, but like it's interesting. I could say.
Yeah, I just looked it up and I got the thumbnail for Computers.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, I'm a little terrified, but
Yeah.
I'm
So-
I'm Thinking
So
about it.
they released an EP last year called Vans, and they recorded it. And you see in the music video, they're in like this really small blue minivan, and you can see they're playing drums, they're doing saxophone in this tiny van while some dude in a mask who was wearing like is just driving around while they're doing it. So supposedly, like,
I may have actually, not to bring it up, I may have seen something like that, but I have no idea. It sounds familiar to me.
and then they released an EP before. It's funny because they released the album last year, and then they released another EP called Toilet, where they recorded in a porta potty.
Of course.
Yep. So those are just like, there was like a one night where I just went down this huge rabbit hole, like who the heck are these guys? And it's just like hearing them do that, and then they released an EP.
It's one of those nights. It's a clown.
Yeah.
It's a clowncore. It's a clowncore night.
And then they released the I think the most like interesting, one of the weirdest, also interesting thing I've ever seen a band do. They released their own digital like the cryptocurrency called Clown Coin, and
because
like,
of course,
yeah, and then through Clown Coin you could access their new EP. But after a bit they like made it public. But like there was like a solid week where like, you have to pay one Clown Coin for like just like one of their EPs. But then after a bit they just released it for, like to the public. But like that kind of stuff, I just love when bands like, I don't know if you probably heard the name Death Grips before, like once in a while, but like Death Grips, just like that their entire history is just another rabbit hole that I've gone down. It's just, oh my gosh, like it's a lot to like sink in, especially with them and how mysterious they are, like, and how they do stuff. Like they had the director of Shrek narrate beginning of one of their songs saying like, I'm here in the studios with Death Grips and they're recording their new album, and then the song comes in, it's like, why, but also thank you, and I didn't know I did this. Like, just like I remember in like I think it was 2017 2018 when that album came out, or when it was coming out, just headline article, creator of Shrek on Death Grips album. Like, why?
Why? But also, why not? When you really think about it. When you really think about it, yeah. Were people asking for this? No. Is it what we needed? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like just clowncore in general. If you ever just want to like call me and like reveal who you guys are. People have theories of who they are, but it's inconclusive right now who they are. But like, if you ever want to like, you could do like a 10-second call, you guys just ripping your mask. I'm like, hey, it's me, and that's it. I'll be happy with that.
And if it turns out you are Sean from Slipknot, we are taking those photos. Can you imagine if it's like, if actually is, that would be the best troll ever. Can you imagine?
Like, oh my gosh. I couldn't even imagine like that going down. Just like, I think like the entire community will explode if that happened. But yeah, that's what I've been listening. Also, for more like the calmer side, there's a shoegaze band, Japanese shoegaze band I discovered recently called Yuragi. They released an album this year called where is it here? For You Are Do It But Soft. But that album was because I used to be really into like shoegaze, like that spacey kind of music before in high school. I kind of fell off it, but then I started getting into it lately, and this came on like one of those like Spotify, like, you'll like this, like they recommended kind of deal, and that came on. I'm like, this is awesome, and it's again just went down the rabbit hole. Like with me with a lot of bands, when I discover something, I try to listen to their entire discography. Like for the first one, I listened to like the one album over and over again. Like, all right, what else have they got? So like that kind of thing. But with Yagi, I listened to them like a bunch for the past couple of weeks, and I'm hoping that they do like a maybe if like when the borders start opening. I know the borders are open now for I believe for just like US and Canada, but if like Japan can like come to Canada, I hope to hell that they could come here, because that'd be an experience to see them. But yeah, those are like kind of like the big things I've been listening to lately. But yeah, I think we could like, I want to talk. I feel like I could talk more, but I feel like because I need to edit this later. But like, I need to like,
to save time in my rabbit hole, please. Let's
because I'll definitely like ask you if you're down to do like another episode. But yeah, like because I realize now, because I used to before record like almost like half an hour to 2 hour long things. Like, yeah, this is awesome. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I have to edit this. So I'm trying now.
I have to edit this later. Please stop talking.
But also, please stop. But no, keep going. No, but please. That's like in my head right now.
Keep going. We need more content here, please. Like we've got nothing interesting so far. Please just keep talking. Keep talking. At the same time, it's like the same time, it's like the other half of your editor brain is just like, why did you keep talking?
Yeah. Is there anything else like? What is in the works right now with you? Because I think you mentioned you're working on an EP or an
Yes,
album.
right now I am close to done. Actually, I just got to finish recording the guitars for one of the songs for this EP. But I'm working on an EP right now called "Call to the Demon Sultan." It's a reference to Lovecraft.
Awesome.
And yeah, so of course you got to have a reference to Lovecraft in metal.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like a requirement, really.
Yeah.
But so I'm working on that, and it should hopefully. I'm looking for a January to February release. I have plans to have one of the singles ready to go by mid to late December. It's already mixed, and it just has to be mastered. But keep an eye out for that, because any metal fans, there is a special guest on that song I feel like you might appreciate. So stay tuned for that.
Okay. All right, so Justin Bieber is going to be on it. I could confirm
that. Oh fuck! Damn it! You were not supposed to tell people. Okay.
It's Kanye.
Yeah, just out of nowhere, in between the, just out of nowhere. I am a god.
I'm a god. Jesus finds me. Jesus walks. Scoopity whoop.
Whoopity scoop. Yes.
Yeah. So you're working on this EP. And it's like almost done. Is there a release date, or is that you kind of want to like hype it up yet?
I'm looking for like about January or February. I haven't locked down an official release date, but that's where I am looking. Just because like I am pretty much almost done. Like, it's 3 songs, technically 4 if you want to count the intro track. But it's like, it's basically 3 songs. 2 of them are already recorded. They're pretty much mixed. It's the 3rd one that I still have to finish recording for the guitars. All the vocals are recorded by this point. Everything's written. Maybe do a bit of orchestral tweaks, because of course I got to add some orchestra.
Yeah.
I'm in. And yeah, there you go. It's I just got to do that, and then it's mixing that, and then master, and then promotion. I should be expecting as well the cover art, because I commissioned the cover art. I should be expecting that to come back by the 13th, and by then I might tease it. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see if I'm just that cheeky, but just that cheeky. But we'll have to wait and see. But again, I'm looking for a January, February release. December for the first single, and again, keep an eye out for that special guest.
Okay, awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you everyone for watching and listening to this episode. I want to thank Tom over here for doing this in such like a kind of a last minute, not really last minute, but like it's kind of like out of the blue, like, hey, you want to do this?
Like, yeah, funny thing is, like, you reached out to me on Instagram, and I've gotten a lot of like people reaching out to me on Instagram before, and I'm just like, this is either a spam bot or something. I have no idea what the fuck this is. But I saw that also, like, our like a professor that we both had at Mohawk, that Will Nash and Kimberly were following you. So I was like,
he's legit.
I want to double check this. Got in contact with Will, and he's like, oh yeah, he was one of the students. I'm like, oh, so he's legit. Good. I just want to make sure it's not like a spam account or something.
Yeah.
I'm very cautious about that. But
yeah, for sure.
Yes, as soon as I confirmed everything, I was like, yeah, let's do it. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun doing this. I'm in the future most definitely gonna have you on again, and probably probably after this listen, like, yeah, let's bring him back on. But I would
love to come back on if you'll have me.
Yeah, we'll probably talk more, because I wanted to like talk more about like kind of like your experience with like radio broadcasting and all that. But we'll probably I was gonna bring it up, but like we're out of time right now. But like, yeah, again, thank you for being on the show, and like brought so much awesome energy here. And thank you everyone for watching.
Woo!